Hello, so this is from that Sarah laughed again. It's called the Overcoming Perfectionism workbook. So dear reader, this short PDF is the workbook accompanied to the blog post How to Overcome Perfectionism in College on her site Sarah Laughed. For more thorough resources on overcoming perfectionism, as well as a full blog post, click here, which you obviously can't because it's a YouTube thing, but I hope this guide helps you in your journey to be a more balanced and healthier life. Perfectionism tends to be a habit that we build to grow over the years, so it can be difficult to address. Don't get discouraged if it takes you longer than you expect. With preservations, whatever, and a willingness to adjust your mindset, you will get there. Warm wishes, Sarah. So do you struggle with perfectionism? Do I have to work very hard to meet my own standards? So your options are to click yes, sometimes yes, no. Yeah, that'd be a yes for me. Do I want to be the best in everything, even if it's not an interesting or important area for me? No. Am I very conscious and aware of my mistakes? Yeah. Do I often criticize myself for making even small mistakes? Yes. Do I often get angry, depressed, frustrated, or overwhelmed when doing work? Yeah. Do I judge myself on my ability to meet my standards? Yes. Do I feel like my assignments are never done because they could always be better? Sometimes, yes. Do my standards make it harder for me to finish things, meet deadlines, or work in group projects? I'd say yes. So if you answered yes or sometimes yes for 4 or more of these questions, you may struggle with perfectionism. So I said yes to all of these except for one. So I admit it's something I struggle with a lot, and struggle with overcoming it. I've done a lot of work in the years, but not fully. So what are some areas in which I struggle with perfectionism? So for me, it's school assignments right now, appearance, and health. So check in. Are my standards flexible, achievable, and realistic? You may struggle to identify whether your standards are flexible, achievable, and realistic. Part of the reason for this is that we all have different skill sets, so what may be achievable for you may not be achievable for someone else, and vice versa. A good test is, does working at the standard often make me feel angry, depressed, frustrated, or overwhelmed? If so, it is not flexible, achievable, or a realistic standard. So on the thing she has the sheet of life area, so exams, her standard, FAR, which is the flexible, achievable, and realistic. Okay, then you go in with check-in, adjusting your standards. Standard 1, so what would it be like to adjust my standard? So if you adjusted it, what would it be? How does this help me? How does having this standard hurt me? How will changing this standard better my life? And how will changing this standard worsen my life? And then you would reflect. So should I change the standard? Why or why not? Adjusting your standards, setting goals. So then you would talk about how you would adjust it, so your area of life, what is unrealistic about it, what would be a more realistic standard, what is one habit that would help me change my standard, what is one way I can act this out in my day-to-day life, what time frame do I have to enact this practice, and is it okay to make mistakes along the way? And then it says hint, adjusting your standards number 2. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's just going through 1, 2, I would pick 3 things that you could do, and then you can deal with hurdles. So with your standard 1 and standard 2, and then whether you adjust them or not, as you try to adjust and change your standards, you make likely come across some problems such as fear of change, reacting to mistakes, circumstances leading you to old behaviors. These things are all completely normal and natural parts of the process of overcoming perfectionism. Something that can help you avoid these pitfalls, however, is planning ahead for them. What are some hurdles that may cause me trouble as I overcome perfectionism? What are some things I can do to remind myself to keep going when they occur? What are some actions I can take after the hurdle to keep going in my goal? What are some things I could say to feel better when dealing with the hurdles? And then finally, progress diary. Finally, I recommend keeping a progress diary as you move towards healthy attitudes and away from perfectionism. You may choose a daily journal once a week or only when you feel like it. When you do journal, in your planner, notebook, or a special diary, you have bought just for this occasion, here are some questions to keep in mind. What kind of thoughts have I been having about work and success today? What kind of thoughts have I been having about myself today? What are some positive improvements I have seen recently? What are some areas in which I am struggling? How am I feeling about my goals? Are they still flexible, attainable, and reasonable? Do any of my goals feel complete? Do I feel ready to take on any new goals? When you do feel ready to take on a new goal, refer back to this workbook and go through the steps again for the new area of your life. So, good luck.